Hey guys, Savvy here. It is 7:38 on Friday night and I'm getting ready. That's my pizza. My pizza's ready. Anyway, we're getting ready to start with my all night, all weekend write-a-thon. Get pumped. Alright, so I've got my pizza. This piece of pepperoni kind of slid off because when I was moving my camera over here, the tripod leg bumped into it, so that's sanitary. My goal for this weekend is that I need to revise part 1 of my novel 90s Kids. So it's broken into 3 parts right now. Part 2 is more than twice as long as the other 2 parts, but part 1 is what I need to revise tonight. Right now it's about 70 pages long. It's the prologue and the first 10 chapters. So that is what I need to get revised, all of that this weekend, because it is due on Monday for my finals for my novel revision class. Tonight is a big writing sleepover party. I've got all this pizza, like seriously, I like struggling to lift this plate, that's how much pizza's on here. And I've got some cherry Coke, and I've got all these M&Ms, like, it's gonna be a good time. We are not gonna eat healthy at all, but damn if we're not gonna write. It is 9:15 p.m. and I have finished. Not the novel revisions, I am still in chapter 1 out of 10 chapters, but I did finish all of the pizza. No, actually, Chewy helped me finish the pizza, so I didn't even accomplish that. So it's like 10 p.m. right now and I'm a wimpy little bitch and I said I was gonna stay up all night and write, but I'm tired as hell, so I'm actually gonna go to bed, and tomorrow morning I'm gonna wake up early and continue writing and then maybe stay up all night on Saturday. We'll see, but the write-a-thon shall continue soon. Bye. This is what I look like when I just wake up. It is time to continue with revisions. Once I make some coffee. What a difference coffee makes! So there are still some things in chapter 1 that I'm not totally satisfied with, and last night that's kind of what was tripping me up, being like,
Chapter 1, I kind of want to make this conflict greater, I kind of want to cut down on all this, but then this won't happen, and then this won't work, and it's like,
But then I'm like, maybe I just need to move on to chapter 2. Like, this is a second draft, this isn't a final draft, this isn't like the draft that's getting published, right? Like, maybe I could just move on to chapter 2 and figure that out later, and that's what I'm thinking, but then I'm like,
what if I move on to chapter 2, but then I should have changed this in chapter 1, or I should have restructured something based on these changes I could, and like, that's kind of what's holding me up right now, so I'm like,
So I think I'm going to move on to chapter 2, where I pretty much know about what revisions I need to make, although there are still some things I'm a little bit uncertain about, and then kind of go from there. So I've got my new draft that I'm writing right here up on this monitor. I've got my 80s playlist on this monitor. I've got my revised outline over here. I've got, what do I got? I've got the original draft over here that I'm kind of working off of. Over here I've got my bullet journal where I've got my map of the town that I'm revising. And I've got my revision checklist. And then I also have my like free writes that I did in class that are gonna weave into different parts of the story. So here we go. I ate too many peanut M&Ms and I had a sugar crash, I guess. So I made more coffee. I'm not going to eat anything healthy this weekend while I'm revising because I just don't have the self-control to both eat healthy and focus on this. I've got to say, out of all the weekends to be having to stay in and write my novel, this is probably the best one because it is Saturday, March 16th right now, which means it is St. Patrick's Day weekend in Chicago. And if you don't know how St. Patrick's Day weekend in Chicago goes, so I'm getting my way through the novel. I feel like I'm like halfway-ish done with all the revisions that I need to do. So that means it's time to order some wings. Let's do it. I got wings. So I just went in the kitchen to get some water. And I saw in there that there's a big-ass bottle of bourbon that Tyler got, which I cannot drink right now because I need to finish this. Some people say, write drunk, edit sober. I'm revising, so that's like the weird love child of writing and editing. I don't know which way you're supposed to be for that, but I cannot afford to let myself fall asleep, so we're gonna go with water and the rest of this cherry Coke. So it's like 9:20 in the evening. I've just made my 4th cup of coffee for today, I think. I'm surprised it's only 4. I've usually had way more by now. But I'm currently in the middle of chapter 7 out of the 10 that I have to revise for the final for this class. I'd like to revise more if possible because a lot of the major things that I'm going to change are in part 2 of this novel, which is after the characters actually time travel, and I have a lot more to add there, so I'm hoping that I can get to some of that this weekend, but if not, like, at least I'll be able to get the final turned in and get my grade. While I write, I've been listening to a lot of David Bowie. I'm just really in the mood for the bisexual 80s because my novel is the bisexual 80s. So am I. I mean, that's not true. I didn't exist in the 80s. Actually, my novel didn't exist in the 80s either, so I don't know what I'm talking about. This map has saved me so much during my revision process because I've been just referencing it and looking at where everything is in relation to everything else, and this has been so helpful for me as I'm trying to describe the setting and get more and more into that. Time to cross some things off my revision checklist. It is 10:36 p.m. Last night around this time, I wimped out and went to bed. I cannot afford to do that tonight, so I am just going to keep on writing. I have a very quick but very important update for everybody. It is almost midnight. It's 11:59 p.m. right now. I'm in chapter 9 out of 10. I'm almost there. And I just noticed that in the first draft, I wrote that with one of the characters. Oh my god, guys, I'm so ashamed of this. Oh my god. I wrote that one of the characters let out a breath they didn't know they were holding. Why? Alright, so it is like 1:20 in the morning. I have just finished the first 10 chapters, so technically I think I'm done with like what needs to be done for my final that's due on Monday, but at the same time I'm like, I need to revise more of it because, you know, a lot of the comments I got in class were like,
this beginning feels kind of too long in relation to the length of the novel as a whole, but that's when the novel was 60,000 words, and the novel, when it's complete, is actually going to be about like 95, 100,000 words, so I'm really going to expand the middle section so much, so when I turn this in, like, the beginning section is going to be longer, so it's going to look like I did the opposite of what I was supposed to do, but it's like, no, proportionally, it actually is going to be smaller because I have so much more to expand in the middle, but I had to change and expand some things at the beginning to set it up, and I'm just like, oh my god, do I need to keep revising? What do I do?
we'll come back to tomorrow and find out what I choose to do, or later tonight, who knows. Thank you for sticking with me on this crazy ride. Good morning. I considered fixing my hair before getting on camera, but this is how I look when I wake up, and you know what? I'm not here to lie to you guys. You might notice I've been wearing the same thing since Friday when I started this vlog. That's because this is what I look like when I get really into working really hard on a project and I get really, really immersed in it. I don't really change my clothes or, you know, make my hair look any better than this. I'll probably like re-put it up in a minute when I go put my glasses on and get my coffee and all of that. So I decided last night that I am not gonna like try to write out the rest of the whole novel right now. I mean, that's ridiculous. Instead, I'm going to, because I feel pretty confident with these first 10 chapters, but I want to prove, like, I want to show how they proportionally are going to be a smaller section of the book than the middle is. So what I'm going to do is outline the middle chapters and show all the new things that I'm adding, like, as an outline for the rest of it, and turn that kind of in as my whole final thing. So I'm going to be working on that outline right now. Oh, yeah! I've also been using the same mug for 3 days, so I'm just completely gross. You guys know that about me. If you didn't know that about me already, you know that about me now. I also stirred this coffee with the wrong spoon. Like, I had a spoon for my coffee, and then I realized the spoon I was stirring it with was a different one, like just a random one I grabbed off the counter. So I hope it's clean, and I hope it wasn't like in another food first, so seems fine. So it is 5:22 on Sunday evening, and I briefly took a break, and by took a break I mean I worked on my other final for my other class, so I don't know how much of a break that is, but it's as much of a break as I'll ever give myself. It's cool because my other class is actually book publicity, so my final for that class was that I had to create a marketing plan for a book, so I made the marketing plan for one final vinyl because that's my novel that's coming out in September, so I was like, I need to have a marketing plan for this anyway. I'll make my marketing plan for it for the final. So I've been working on that and I'm just about done, and then going to get back to writing my rest of my novel outline for 90s kids. But what's fun about my marketing plan for One Final Vinyl is that a lot of the marketing plan involves getting BookTube reviews, so that means I'm going to be reaching out to you guys pretty soon to send you guys some ARCs, so get excited! I have finished. Alright, so I've done the first 10 chapters, I've outlined from there chapters 11 through 50, outlined them very clearly, so now I know exactly where everything's going, and I can finally like settle down and finish the entire story, but not today because I'm going to turn in what I have to turn in for finals, and I am done! I earned this!